Yo, yo, yo. What's good? What's good? What's good? It's your boy Savage, aka Sev Cisneros. You tuning in to Sev Lokes Hood Tales 2.0. Like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. Let's get to the politic. Before I start this video, let me make this clear. I am in no way or form promoting the gang life to anyone. I am just telling a testimony, and maybe in that I'll be able to open somebody's eyes to, different things, and let it be known. So that's kind of what I am standing on. I'm about success more than anything. I ain't about all the craziness, bro. But you know what it is. So let's get to this video. Let me get some privilege in my system. My high salute to everybody out there. And then this video, it's a 2-part video, and it comes from the comment section. 2 requests in one. And it's from the homies. Thank you guys for the interactions and everything. Thank you for the suggestion on videos. And the first one comes from the homie Jamie G. And big ups to you, man. Go check out his YouTube channel too, people. You know what I'm saying? Jamie G. And you asked, you said that you were reading a book on the Latin Kings and how they started. And, that's what's up. And you asked about, are the Latin Kings rooted and sanctioned in the Denver Metro? And when I say sanctioned and rooted, I mean, do they have pretty much a chapter out here in the Denver Metro? So let's start from my early ages. When I was young, in the 90s, got out in them trenches, and to be 100% honest, the Denver Metro had, more of the West Coast feel, more of the West Coast politic. So, in saying that, you basically had the powerhouses from, the West Coast, and even everybody that's original Denver based, they all had more of the West Coast feel. There was a lot of influence by, California, and a lot of influence by more of the West Coast, instead of the Midwest, the East Coast. Really never came across too many fools from the East Coast growing up, or Chicago, but there was always that influence from California, people that, I knew from Cali. So we rocked, more than West Coast politics. You had Crips, Bloods, Northside, Norteños, and Sureños that, you would see, you know what I'm saying? And they had a presence. More Crips and Bloods than anything, you know what I'm saying? Norteños, Sureños, you knew they were in the state because they're in different cities in the state, like outside of the Denver Metro. And then you had them in, Aurora and Montbello, but like I said, it was more the influence of the West Coast politics. Never came across no Latin Kings, never came across no GDs, Vice Lords, back in the day at all, for me. When I went to the penitentiary, that was the first time I ever seen more of the Midwest politics, because, you get on them yards and you'll have, fools from GDs, came across some Vice Lords, and even came across, handful of Latin Kings, came across some Latin disciples, but I remember first time really interacting with more of the Midwest politics. I hit that prison yard, and the GDs, they were on the yard, but it was crazy, bro, because they were all from Colorado Springs, and they represented that GDs, you know what I'm saying? And they were cool with actually the Crips up there. And it was crazy because they rode with the Crips, but that was not every single yard that I went to. Sometimes the GDs would do their own thing. And that was the first time I was told about 8-Ball, Folks and Lokes, and, the two ride together. And then I started doing a little research on what that was all about. And, like in the Midwest or wherever, the East Coast, they sometimes they was linking up, to ride, on, the opposition, the Vice Lords and all them fools and, the Land Kings. So they linked up. Um, but out here, man, there was none of that. Like, there was no linking up with GDs or A-ball banging. Because to be 100, when it comes to real Crips and Dahmoos, real Crips and Dahmoos from the West, bro, they're not riding under no stars, no 6 points, or, the Bloods are not going to ride under the 5 points. That's some East Coast on the other side, and a lot of time that's looked down upon, bro, because that's not the original politics of the Crips and Bloods. I know in California, there's one neighborhood, the Black P Stones, and they ride under the 5. And it's just because the Fool T. Rogers came from Chicago and rooted the Black P Stones. I know Chicago Black P Stones don't really ride the blood, the blood wave, because they're their own thing. But the P Stones from California do, their Blood Alliance or whatever. So Penitentiary was the first time, really, you know what I'm saying, we interacted. And I came across a GD pretty much in the penitentiary that said that they're not established anywhere in Colorado. In the Colorado aspect, they're not sanctioned, and the OGs didn't allow it. Then I came across some fool from Four Corner Hustlers, and that's more the Vice Lords, and they bang the 5, and that's the rivals of the GDs. So it's crazy to see, their aspect of their politics and how it is, because on the yards, they didn't really trip because it's not sanctioned like that. It's not sanctioned like the Bloods and Crips. So they didn't really even get at each other. You know what I'm saying? There was no static, really. The Four Corner Hustler, he was... you could tell he was in that combat mind state, and he was a big dude, so the GDs didn't really even trip on him. Then I went to Bend County, and it's crazy because there was a car up there, and it consisted of Latin Kings, and they had about five of them fools on the yard, and they had their own car, and pretty much, they were more from Chicago. But they came out here to Denver, and, them fools were from the same area in the Chi, and, they just rode together. And that was the first time I ever seen Latin Kings, And it was crazy because one of the Latin Kings actually knew my relatives from Arapahoe Trues when they were doing music, and he had respect for my rally. But what I could say about them fools, they really embraced, you know what I'm saying? They really embraced their brother. But they would always tell me, bro, that it was never no sanction in the Denver Metro. None of them organizations were sanctioned in the Denver Metro by the organizations that really started it. And I don't want to speak too much on them, but, you could always tell who was who because they knew their lit. They knew their history. They knew what it was all about. The ones that were false claiming it, they wouldn't last too long. When I got out of the penitentiary, pretty much you heard that them fools started moving to Aurora, GDs, and there was a presence out there, and I couldn't believe it because you never seen that before I went to the penitentiary. But then my little partners, new generation fools from my neighborhood, actually said that they got into it with some GDs up there. And the GDs that were in Aurora, they were acting more like, West Coast politics, gangbanging, really. And I know the GDs they're not really on that, color banging or what, but these fools were. So, like, even with them, they were more on that West Coast time, and I don't know, I don't know if they're official or not, because everybody else that I talked to that was ever from the real roots said that they were not. But then again, you see that all aspects, even with Crips and Bloods, the California Crips and Bloods will say fools are not official, and there's real riders from everywhere. So, I would say for the most part, they don't really have a big rooted in Denver. They're not really big rooted in Denver. They don't really have a sanction out here too much. So that's what it is. I hope I put some detail into the video that you could see. Mile high salute for the interaction. You know what it is. Second part of the video, from I think the homie Murder Tank. He asked, what are the official neighborhoods in Denver, Colorado? And to you, I ask, what do you mean by official? Because that can be, you know what I'm saying, took at as many different ways. I'm going to try to answer this officially in a rightful manner, and I ain't trying to disrespect anybody. So when I think of official, I think of foods that have a name of respect, started aspects in their own sector, and started the gang banging wave out here and officially rooted. That's what I think as official. Now, another person might think official means something else, you know. But I'm gonna say this: it doesn't matter. I've seen it all, bro. I've seen the smallest fools that really their neighborhoods soft, but they're official and they put in work, and they done put in major work for their neighborhood, so they're official. You know, a lot of fools will say their neighborhood ain't official, but they're official. So there's official foods from the smallest gangs, from even the tagging crews, bro. There's some killers that actually kill for their tagging crews. So they're official, and you ain't gonna double cross. You ain't gonna tell them they're not official. You know, I can't stand when people be like, you're not official, homie. But you don't know that person personally. You know, the neighborhood might be not have the most credibility, but I know little fools that stuck loyal to their neighborhoods and put it down for their neighborhoods, and they're official, and their certain aspect of that neighborhood's official. You know, but for the most part, people will say different things what the definition of official is, you know. But let's start off with the originators, bro, of many different things. You know, let's start off with the east side, man. Official foods that get respect and foods are well known. You know, you have officially, you know, the Treyos, official Trey Deuces from the east side. You know, they're official hoods, official Trey Fours, you know, from the east side that was in the E. Official ESGs, Odies, Deuce 5 Raiders, original Brick City Foods, official. Curtis Park Boys, official. The Villains, they were official hood that people here that are originated, rooted. You know, you have official Chickies from Swansea, official Chickie 30s from Arapahoe block. And, you know, then you have different other sectors, bro, that you hear, you know, like, you know, they had foods from their sector too that was pushing the line, Trey Ones, and, you know, but they're not from the top chapter. They're not going to get any shine because a lot of fools will say, you know, they came after and, you know, they didn't make too much noise, the Trey 5 Outlaws, and, you know, like, I don't know, bro. It just depends. Like I said, it's your definition of what official means, you know. Playboys, you know, a lot of fools, you know, there was some fools riders from the Playboys, PBGC, you know, but PBGC is a Cali branch, but the fools out here were officially pushing the line, you know. Then, you know, West Side Denver, the West Denver Metro, the GKIs, and, you know, the Inca Boys was official neighborhood from the West Side. West Side AKs and the Buyers Hood, you know, the West Side original bloods like, you know, CMGs, you know, and even you can put officially, even though they had a bad name for what they did, the official Deuce 7 CMGs, Boom and Bang, because they had a lot of fools knew who their name was. And to be truthful, even a lot of lokes knew who they was. See, now that's how you can, you know, separate who knows who, because if the opposition knows that you was putting in work, then you officially a rider from that aspect, and they talk about your gangsta all the way. And officially, you know, there's certain individuals that's going to be known because of how much work they put in on the opposition. But then, you know, you have fools that, you know, fools will try to say ain't official, but in the contents in their neighborhoods, they were official. They were putting in work. You know, there's other blood hoods in the West Side that, you know, fools will say, hey, bro, you know, those are not the official blood hoods, and really, honestly, we don't acknowledge them, you know. And like I said, I'm not here to disrespect, but you know, like the 16 blocks are well known in the West Side for sure, you know. But when it comes to like, you know, the fools that rooted the Bloods, some of the Park Hill fools and even other CMGs, they're gonna say, bro, they're not official. But I know official fools that really be pushing the line, bro. You know, I know, you know, LGBs, Latino Gangsta Bloods, they was officially in the West Side, and fools know who they are. KCB, SMBs, official, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of fools will say they're not because, you know, they're not stamped by the originators and rooted fools that push that bloodline, you know. You know, the Westridge fools, you know, fools, you know, they say that they're not really official, but, you know, in the West Side they are, and in their minds and their cars, they're gonna have killers. They're fools that will, you know, put you under from them sectors, and they represent their stuff to the fullest, you know. It goes from all sides of town, bro. You know, you have fools that really are rooted and fools know, and then you have fools that pretty much they say, you know, they're not getting no shine, you know. Northside fools, you have the NSMs, the UTAs, the Quintalomas, the Warlords, the Hitman, you know, the criminals. And, you know, when it comes to the mafias, Northside Mafia, one of the bigger aspects, you know, the 44 fools were the official originators of the mafias, and none of this this other stuff from, I think, like Deuce 9, or, you know, the fools that push the 14, like that's more Norteño, Sureño thing. But, you know, the official fools are the 44 fools, you know. And then you go to the South Side, and you have Southside Stills, Southside Homies, the Westwood Hoods, you know. So yeah, bro, you know, it just depends. Like I said, you know, what's your definition of official? Because I guarantee from all them sectors, you're gonna have a handful of fools that push the line, you know. And if you go far east to Aurora and, you know, them neighborhoods, there's a lot more fools that come from other states that move over there. But there was official Aurora fools like the Gambinos. You heard about the Gambinos from the A. You know, you heard about Playboy Gangsters, PBGCs. They bang the east side, and they're from 23rd, and that's a California thing, but they're the official ones are in Aurora that bang out here. You know, Monballo, you have the Truest, Monballo Truest, Black Mafia fools, you know. In Monballo, you had 5-5 and the 5 Trays, and, you know, like the 60s was out there, but that's all California. I'm just saying, man, you know, I don't know. It just depends on what you consider official. So I hope I answered, you know, the questions in these videos, man. Mile high salute to the real ones. You know what it is. Let's go.